Hello. Welcome to another daily art video by Chris Bevan, and I'm going to adjust the camera while I'm talking to you. Yay. And make sure this focuses. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to do something a little bit different today. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw this painting out and record the whole process and me talking through it and rambling about whatever I want to talk about. And I'm going to try and keep it directly in response or in regards to what I'm doing. I know it's a little bit different. Please feel free to use the speed controls in YouTube and speed me up to 1.5 or 2 or whatever so that you can get through this a little bit faster. I know, see, I normally speed this up because I found that on even like the artists that I love, when they just get to work and you know, there's just a lot of nothing happening, that I lose interest, and I was really not watching things. So I was thinking, well, if I'm not watching it, I don't think a lot of other people would watch it as well, right? But I'm not other people, so I'm going to try this out, and we'll see. So in the comments, if you're like, no, keep doing the fast forward thing, please let me know if this is boring the crap out of you. Or if you want to, you're fine just listening along. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're doing the dishes. Maybe it's the end of the day and you're just doing something else and you just want to listen to me about what I'm doing. That's cool too. Yeah, let me know. Okay. So this is the next painting I'm working on. I'm calling it Hold, H-O-L-D. And hopefully you can see, I don't want the shadow to hit the paper for some reason. But the reason why I adjusted the camera, I was wanting to make sure that you could see the picture that I'm working from on my iPad. And this is from a reference bundle by Satine Zilla, Z-I, oh my goodness. I need to go to my computer and go to their website to actually give that to you so that you know. It's Satine, SATINE, ZILLAH.com, SatineZilla.com. And this person has a bunch of wonderful photography of figures. I learned of this person from ArtStation, and also Graphit Studio is another one. But if you are part of ArtStation, I think it's artstation.com. I used to be on ArtStation. I'm not anymore. And I purchased a lot of these things off of ArtStation, but now I just go directly to the photographers' websites and purchase them there. I'm not sure if, I'm pretty sure that ArtStation takes a percentage, and I just wanted to give directly to these photographers because, man, the work is really good. And I just love all these figures, right? So SatineZilla.com if you want to support them, or Graphit Studio, or any other ones that you might want to buy on ArtStation. It's by far one of the places, or the place that I found the best figure reference photos. Definitely. I've painted from other places as well. Like I had New Masters Academy actually did that for a year or two, where I went through a lot of their courses. Didn't get through a lot of them because of the structure that they have. It was a bit difficult in a lot of ways to stay interested And so I was on and off with New Masters Academy. It's nma.com, I believe, or .org. I'm not sure. Just do a Google search for New Masters Academy and you'll find it. And they have a nice bank of imagery that they always add to and always have added to for years. If you wanted to get figurative images. Oh, most of these places are not just figurative. They do things like animal photos and all kinds of stuff. And I'm getting really detailed on this drawing. Hopefully you can see the pencil marks. Let me see. Yeah, they're really light right now, but I will be increasing or decreasing the value on these and drawing a little bit harder after I get the basic shapes of all this down. I am getting a bit too detailed with stuff before I have the full placement of the figure. But I'm pretty confident in my drawing ability to get close enough where I can do these kind of sketchy lines and things like this and not worry about having the ability to bring it back. Excuse me. Got a tickle in my throat. Had to drink some tea. Always love tea, have tea next to me. And normally when I'm drawing, when I'm doing these paintings and things, I'll have music in the background. And the music I listen to ranges from, you know, anything and everything, from very light, ambient, meditative music, all the way to heavy metal. The only thing I don't listen to is country music. I mean, I don't mind a lot of hip-hop music as well. I don't listen to that very often when I'm painting or drawing. But sometimes I do. Now, this painting is still in the same lines of paintings I've worked on previously. The last two paintings, the one before this was called Pedestal. And you can see all these on my website, chrisbevan.com. And you can purchase all of them on my website. Very inexpensive because I like providing inexpensive artwork for other artists or anybody that wants to buy artwork. And because I don't feel like I have enough skill yet to be able to, or notoriety to be able to charge thousands or hundreds of dollars for a painting. That arm probably needs to come down a bit further. Yeah, probably it's going to come down to there. That's the thing about drawing. Well, let me go back to the purpose. I tend to get on tangents all the time, as you know, if you watched any of my videos. So the same purpose with this painting as Pedestal, the one before it, and the one before that was Convalesce, both figurative paintings. And the idea that I'm having a lot of fun with was sparked by Nicholas Uribe when he was describing what he knows about Olga Bolznanska's paintings. And I'm going to repeat this again. The little bit that I've learned from her work, this is Nicholas Uribe talking, is to try and postpone as much as you can the development of contrast and detail in form. This sounds incredibly complex because it feels that form has no anchor points. We usually use accents of contrast or saturation to try and ground an otherwise formless blob. You know, imagine putting just a bunch of random brushstrokes down that don't mean anything, right? That have no bearing on anything. It'll look like a formless blob. You know, you're just throwing brushstrokes down for nothing. Reminds me a bit of Anne Gale. So here's Anne Gale, a black and white painting that I printed out. And she's got that kind of formless thing going on as well. And there's places that ground that. And he's talking about staying with that formless blob as long as you can. Like this is what Olga Bolznanska does. before later on adding in these accents of contrast or saturation to ground that blob in reality, to make it say things like fingers, you know, hands, arm, toes, hip, leg, things like that. So I'll continue on from Uribe's quote, Nicholas Uribe's quote. In Boznanska's work, it seems that she is able to extend that formless stage and only reach the degree of contrast and or detail she desires after an incredibly prolonged effort of expressive mark making. So prolonging that stage of expressive mark making for a long time before we add in indicators of face, nose, hands, toes, things like that. And then he mentions Anne Gale's approach is similar, where, and I love this, where the building towards is more important than reaching. Like reaching likeness, reaching clarity, reaching normalcy, I guess, or like the regular paintings that we know of that, you know, have to say, people feel like they need to say something like clouds or trees or person or face, right? The love of building towards that and staving off this idea of reaching that as long as we can. Really, really interesting. Love the idea. And I love that his description of something that I could not describe of what was happening in Boznanska's painting, he was able to describe so well that it gave me direction and like real action that I can take to, you know, things that I could perform on a painting to get closer to what Boznanska was doing, you know, or at least what we think Boznanska was doing. And I like to call it like the subjective to the objective, you know, subjective where it's maybe your opinion on something, it's not concrete, it's kind of meandering, it's out there, it could be taken in multiple different ways, but objective is actionable, it's solid, it's concrete, it's specific, it's agreed upon by many, many people. It's almost like, you know, it's where science is built in, is in the objective and not the subjective. You'll never see a good scientist or hear a good scientist talk about something in a very subjective way, right? They'll give you objective results, observations, things that can be acted upon, you know, and remove the subjective, the opinionated, that is not based in anything concrete. So that's going to be this painting again, or another painting, where I work on this aspect of prolonging the formless blob as long as I can, before I add in accents of contrast or saturation or detail to describe what's happening. And it's really difficult because, I mean, I think the most difficult thing about it is this understanding of, okay, what is the part that I would add in that would describe the detail necessary, or the minimal amount of detail necessary to say face, head, hand, arm, right? And a lot of times it is based in contrast and saturation. I picked this particular photo because there was a lot of places where there is contrast, extreme contrast between light and dark, and then there's a lot more places where there is less contrast, and it's going to be easier to have, you know, that formless blob because we won't have sharp edges everywhere. But it's not just sharp edges, like detail in that aspect. It's also value, right? You could have very softness, varied softness, or very soft areas that describe particulars, like an objective thing that we can understand, that brings it out of the formless blob stage and into something that we can name: hand, face, nose, right? So it's not just those kind of details. It's also saturation, you know, accents of saturation, just like Nicholas Uribe says. Now, with the drawing stage on this, because I want to take my time drawing this, because there's a lot going on. Not only, I mean, there's not one figure, but there's two. The focus is on one main figure, which is this person here that had, you know, and there's another person with their arm around this person. And so the focus is the person that is being held, not the person doing the holding, which is pretty interesting. I'll have to really think about why I chose the person being held over the person doing the holding. But I want to get placement down. What's really wonderful about this formless blob stage, and what I love about this painting, or a lot of paintings by Ben Hope, H-O-P-E, and Boznanska, is they look so randomly thrown down. And I mean, it is paint first. I see paint before I see a face or lips or things like that. But they're put in the right place. And you can tell, like, even with that, even with the formlessness of it, same with Olga, with the formlessness of it, I can still tell that this guy, this girl, is an amazing draftsman. Like, they know how to draw. They've trained for years on how to draw. And that's another aspect of this that it's exciting. It amazes me like crazy. It's like, how can you be so absolutely random with your brushstrokes, yet so exact? How can you hold both exactness and random expressiveness? Oh, there's my alarm. At the same time. How can you hold both of those at the same time? It sounds really difficult to me. So another aspect of this that I want to work on, but it needs, in order to do that for myself, I feel that I need this detailed drawing stage. Now, I'm not getting super duper detailed here. I'm getting major placement of not only the figures, but also the light and the shadow shapes. There's some cast shadows that are happening on here as well from things out of the picture plane. I love that idea as well. These hidden things that we don't see that are casting shadows. My favorite one in this whole photo is this light, kind of sharp blade of brightness. And I may push that in the painting by going just straight white on it. I need to make the body a bit thinner. Another thing that I want you to experience, am hoping is somewhat interesting is today is a day where I decided to focus on many other aspects of my life, like video creation and panel creation for the paintings that I've already done, plus my job and family and things like that. I've focused on many different things rather than art today, and I felt that it would be better for me today to focus on those rather than my art time. So I decided, okay, later in the day, I'm going to do my minimum art time, which is 30 minutes. And I'll be okay with that. But I'm also going to get a whole bunch of other stuff done. So what you're experiencing right now is me with, I got my timer going. We're in 21 minutes right now. And I always log my time every day. I know, I love seeing the data. And I'm using the app Toggle, T-O-G-L, the free version of it. It's a great app. Please get it, pay for it if you want to, but it's a great app for tracking time. But because I paint and draw and do art every single day, and I've made this such an important part of my life, and I've gotten so comfortable with this daily art thing that I find it okay to do those 30 minutes. I've seen throughout the years the tremendous progression that I can make with 30 minutes of art a day. And I see it as being a huge thing. And I think many people, they look at 30 minutes and they go, that's nothing. You can't progress on that alone. And, somewhat I can agree with that. It isn't like I've only done 30 minutes for the past 13 years, 4,505 days in a row, right? There's been many days that I've done hours beyond that, many, many days. But there's also a ton of days that I've, in a row, where I've only done 30 minutes. I've constantly made that progression. And when you're doing art every single day, and you feel the travel of time, when you feel that kind of metronome, that ticking clock, because I just did my daily art. It feels like 5 minutes ago, but it was yesterday, and now I'm doing it again, and now I'm doing it again. The tick of time, how incessant it is, how glacial, how inevitable. When you'll be able to feel that so much that I begin to understand just how powerful a daily practice is. And especially with a busy life. I've been through a kidney transplant, deaths in the family, moving like across an ocean, all kinds of stuff. The worst days and the best days, still doing the daily art, right? Every single day. And so when, I guess the point I'm trying to make is I've gotten comfortable with saying, yeah, 30 minutes today is fine. Because I know time will come around tomorrow like it's nothing. Like before you know it, it'll feel like less than a day. It'll feel like only a few hours ago was I drawing something else. Time will come by again, and I'll have another chance to do more than 30 minutes. And I probably will. Probably will. Or maybe I won't. I don't know, but I'll keep going. As long as I'm alive and conscious, I'll keep going. So I decided today, 30 minutes is enough. 30 minutes is enough because I want to focus on other things. That's another aspect about the daily practice. I think that it's difficult for a lot of individuals to get comfortable with. The first hurdle is being okay with just doing what you may feel like is so little. It reminds me of me building a workout. Years ago, actually years and years ago, I started CrossFit. That was in 2013, the same year that I started my daily art. I wonder if it's related. I'm not really doing CrossFit any longer. Every now and then I'll go to a CrossFit box and do something, right? And then it'll remind me just how much I suck at breathing and working out. But where was I going with that? Oh my goodness. It reminds me of building a CrossFit workout. I remember I got so deep into CrossFit, me and my wife, we would build workouts of our own. We made a lot of our own workouts, and I'm really bad at it. Like I would say, yeah, let's do this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing and do this 20 times and that 30 times and 50 rounds of this and 50 rounds of that. And my wife would look at me like, yeah, that's not happening. You would die halfway through it, because I always felt like anything less wasn't enough, right? And I think that's what many artists feel like anything less than 8 hours a day just isn't worth it. Anything less than getting a painting done every day or making tremendous progress on a painting isn't worth it. And that's the first hurdle I think that many artists have to get through, is understanding how important just simple progress is, just simply making one step further, and how powerful that is. And it doesn't have to be a lot. In fact, you don't want it to be a lot, because if you say, you know what, I think I can do 4 hours a day for the rest of my life. I tried that, and no, that's not going to happen. I think even if you said, I can do 2 hours every single day for the rest of my life, I think that would be tremendously challenging as well. Depends on your life and what you got going on. But I think that would be just way, way too much. Now that I know, after the experience that I've had. So that's the first hurdle. Being okay with less, with setting that minimum that will never and should never increase beyond whatever you set it at. And it doesn't have to be 30. It could be 15 minutes. It could be 5 minutes of drawing a day. It's your life, your game. You play it whatever works for you. The most important thing is making the progress. And yes, I talk about this stuff all the time, okay? Why do I talk about it? Because it's worked for me. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you, but I think it'll work for a lot of people, so that's why I talk about it. So the first hurdle is getting over that small amount, or what feels like a small amount. The second hurdle, what is the second hurdle that I've really seen a lot of people struggle with? I had that. I had it in my head, what I was going to say, but then the ramble just took it out. Because I've had years and years to do this, and I've constantly been shown how important it is to keep that minimum and to never increase it. To go, oh, well, I've done 1 hour every day for this past month. I'm going to increase my minimum to an hour. Before you know it, life rears its wonderful head. And you find that you have no time in the day to even get 30 minutes in, or you're sick. Or, what happens more often, I would say, is we just don't feel like it. Like the muse isn't there. The muse has left. And we're waiting on that muse to And I think that's probably one of the bigger hurdles to get over. When you commit to a daily practice, you're committing yourself to do something regardless of feeling. I think feeling in art is important. I think when you're really excited about something, that's when sometimes your best work is. Sometimes, not all the time. And these fingers, oh my goodness, they're all over the place. It's like a jumble. Yeah, that's all going to meld together into the formless blob, definitely. But when you commit to a daily practice, you will find pretty quickly that you cannot depend on the muse, the stars, your motivation, your drive, what you feel. You cannot depend on that to be there with you all the time. It fails pretty darn quickly. And you get into this mode of, it doesn't matter. Subject, what I'm doing, my feelings about it doesn't matter a lot of times. What matters is just doing something, no matter what it is, and getting it done and making that progress. And you end up with a ton of bad drawings, or a ton of drawings that of stuff that you didn't think you'd ever draw because it was kind of meaningless to you. But you had to make that progress, and you had to get a little bit further, and you had to keep that streak, keep things going, and continue on. And so you draw to draw. You're in a hotel room, and it's late at night, and you're tired. You just flew to this new city or whatever, and been flying for 8 to 10 hours, and you're tired, and you're like, there's no motivation there. The only thing you're motivated to do is go to sleep, right? But you look around the room, you say, you know what? That lamp is kind of interesting. Let me draw this. Or there's nothing interesting in this room. Oh, there's my car keys. Let's draw my car keys for 30 minutes. And then you're counting the minutes as they go by. Yeah, it doesn't sound very glamorous, does it? No, at that point, it's not. That's why it's so important, like I was talking about with this session. You know, it's not about the single session. It's not about that I've decided that today, and we're already past 30 minutes, 33 minutes. It's not that I decided today I'm only going to do 30 minutes and that it's going to break everything, right? I know the travel of time and the many of days that are going to come after this, and the multitude of days where I'll do bad drawings, and the multitude of days where I'll do good drawings and good paintings. And as long as I keep going, as long as I keep progressing, it'll all add up to positive. But it takes that urge to do it, and to know that that's going to happen, to have a commitment to it, and to say, you know, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, what I'm drawing, what I'm painting. It doesn't matter if it comes out good or bad, or if I even finish it. What matters is the progress, that one step every day. And not only the one step, but the decision as well. The decision is so much more important, I would think. That's an essential tool that I had to build over a long period of time, to, regardless of what's going on in my life, to make that choice, to decide to do something. I don't feel good, but I'm going to do it anyways, right? I don't feel like it. I'm bored, but I'm going to do it anyways. What I'm doing right now, playing this video game, or out to dinner or whatever. I love this so much and I'm having such a great time, but I need to put it away. I need to stop and I need to get my art in because that is ultimate for me, you know? Yeah. Okay. I think that's pretty good. I don't care too much about likeness for this figure. Not because I don't know the figure, it's just that's not the important part of this painting. The important part is I feel that the highest contrast will be in the eyes here, and this may be the focus of the painting. Could be the only focus of the painting, the only accent of contrast or saturation that will ground the formless blob that I'm going to try and stick with as much as I can. So I want to get it to looking accurate, like it's a well-built human person and not too wonky. Very technical terms there, super technical. And that's pretty good. Yeah, there we go. There's the drawing of this. That took me 36 minutes. Probably would have been a little bit faster if I wasn't chatting and rambling. But yeah, that's all it takes. This is a 7x12, by the way, and I'm just using a super cheap, I don't even know, HB pencil. Yeah, get these at the grocery store. I don't know. Works fine for me. Oh, jeez. All right. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.